So I do believe it was one of my coworkers that said, you can tell that it's time for Mission Impossible to be over because Tom Cruise's Botox and fillers are running out.
Damn!
Hey everyone, this is the Movieman, fellow cinephile, popcorn addict, and emerging film critic, coming to you with reliable recaps, reviews, and reactions. And today, I'm coming to you all with my out-of-the-theater thoughts. Yes, I caught this in IMAX. Or, if you couldn't already tell, Mission Impossible: The Final Reckoning. Yes. Directed by Christopher McQuarrie and starring Tom Cruise, Haley Atwell, Ving Rhames, Simon Pegg, Angela Bassett, and many, many more. Story-wise, this of course is a continuation of Dead Reckoning, where we see Ethan and his fellow agents doing what they can to track down Gabriel and stop the entity once and for all. Now, starting with the pros, let me just make it clear. Mission Impossible is one of those films and franchises that has been with me since I was very, very young. I talk all the time about how I had a VHS tray. And Mission Impossible is one of those VHS tapes that I had. My mom loved Mission Impossible. She loved the series, so she loved the film as well. And so I grew up already having a familiarity with that. And then, of course, seeing this franchise go from, let's see, mid-90s, early 90s, all the way to 2025, where we are seeing the end. 8 films in all, and it has been such a ride. It has been such a journey. And say what you want about Tom Cruise, the man knows how to make a movie. Top Gun, Maverick, all these Mission Impossible movies, Edge of Tomorrow, like there's a whole list. There might have been a couple that didn't quite work, but when it comes to a good amount of his films, including Mission Impossible, yeah, that's not an issue. And I also think that Christopher McQuarrie's direction has been a big part of what has made these films work. He actually, I didn't realize it, but he's directed the last 4 films. Rogue Nation, Fallout, Dead Reckoning, and now The Final Reckoning. And I also didn't know that he's collaborated with Tom Cruise plenty of times. He's either written, produced, or directed Valkyrie, the Jack Reacher films, Edge of Tomorrow, The Mummy, and Top Gun Maverick. So they are pretty in sync as far as the vision for their films, even though The Mummy was a struggle. I mean, I appreciate what they were trying to do. That one was not great. But the majority of the films have been really solid. Edge of Tomorrow is definitely a standout for me. Extremely underrated film. But as far as this film, I think it has a lot of what has made this franchise great, which includes some really great action sequences and stunts. I'm going to tell you, we have 2 standout scenes here. One that takes place in the submarine and one that takes place on 2 planes. And I'm sure if you've seen the trailer, you may have caught at least that last one. But whoa, when I tell you my stomach was hurting, I was trying to catch my breath. And we already know Tom Cruise is willing to go all the way there to make some of those stunts work. So yeah, I think it was wildly effective here. I think he's always had good ones, but I think this time it was just like, okay. This one took it to another level for me, and I thought it was so well done. I also think the cast, as I mentioned, is really, really solid, but surprisingly, I have to say the standout for me and the actor that got the most laughter and the most reactions in the theater was Tramell Tillman, also known as Mr. Milkshake or Mr. Milkshake from Severance, which is my show. So I was so happy to see him, and in his own way, even though there are a lot of actors and a lot of characters here, I think he kind of stole the show. I think he had a really great moment that we got with him, and yeah, he was really memorable to me. And again, I think there are so many talented people in this film, and it really made the experience just all that more enjoyable. Everybody did what needed to be done, basically. As far as cons, I would say that compared to other installments, this lacked a little bit of joy or a little bit of quirkiness for me. It's fine having a more serious tone, but I think that it took itself a little too seriously. And then I also think that it relied more so on dialogue and exposition. And after a while, it just kind of felt like scenes of just explaining. It was just like, okay, can we get back to seeing everyone out on the hunt, out, no pun intended, but seeing everybody out on the trail, hunting people down. It doesn't have to just be action, action, action. But some of the things we got, it's like characters were just kind of talking and talking and talking. It was just kind of like, all right. And I think because of that, it definitely made the runtime feel about as long as it is. This, of course, is a 2-hour and 51-minute film, and I won't say it completely felt like that because I was definitely engaged. I didn't feel like I was falling asleep, but I think it was really stretched out in a way it didn't need to be, and that's always unfortunate. Like I said, still enjoyed it, but they really could have trimmed a lot of these scenes down. We got to the halfway mark, and my mom was like, there's an hour and 20 minutes left, and I was just like, okay. Now, thankfully, the last third act was really, really solid, so it wasn't something where I was really frustrated or annoyed by it, but it wasn't needed. If you can trim a film down, then you probably should do it, and this is one that definitely needed some trimming. I would also say that this film, I guess because it's the last one, it does a lot of flashbacks to other films, and I kind of feel like it becomes redundant after a while. We get a really good recap of sorts in the opening sequence, and then we keep getting like these reminders throughout, and I was just kind of like, I think you have to trust the audience after a certain point to know what's going on. I understand like reminders are good, and I get that, maybe everyone hasn't seen the films or maybe haven't seen them in a while, but it was just kind of like, you don't need to flashback to this character again. You don't need to flashback to this thing that happened, and it was very constant. It was just kind of like, felt like it was infantilizing the audience a little bit, which maybe some of them need that, but for me it was just like, okay, those flashbacks had to have taken up at least a sixth of the film. Maybe I'm overreacting, but I definitely think that contributed to the longer runtime as well. And lastly, I would say that although I really do enjoy Haley Atwell as an actress, I was struggling watching her throughout this film, not in every single scene, but I think that she is not a suitable replacement for Rebecca Ferguson. That is the homie, that is one of my favorite actresses, and I loved her character. And what they did with her in the last film was not pleasing to me, and so even though she was fine, it just reminded me how great of a character that we had prior to that, and I was so frustrated, honestly, watching her. Didn't do a bad job, but I just think the direction with her character, it was just kind of like, I miss my girl. Please bring her back, even though you technically can't, but I don't care. Like, I want her back. I need her back. So I do have to say that ultimately I do think Mission Impossible: The Final Reckoning is a fairly solid finale to the franchise. I don't think it comes anywhere near the heights of films like Rogue Nation and especially Fallout, but it's solid enough, and it definitely helps me appreciate all the work and all the time and all the effort that has been put into these films by Tom Cruise, Christopher McQuarrie, all the other various actors, directors, cast, and crew. This has been something really special, and I know how Hollywood is, so I can't say whether this is really, really over. Is anything ever really over in Hollywood? I don't think so. But either way, I appreciated the experience. Even with the flaws, it's Mission Impossible. So as soon as you hear that, dun, 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 like as soon as you hear that, it's over. So, and for me and my mom, that's easily one of the best parts. And as soon as we heard it, as soon as the credits rolled, it just was like, satisfaction. So until next time, this is D, Movieman, signing off and making my way home to take on Mission Bedtime. It's about that time. See ya.